Have you ever felt? Are you listening? Damn.
What's up, everyone? We're continuing to talk about the price. I would like to share some more insights about the further behavior of Bitcoin after this sudden drop, and we'll start just from something a little bit different, and namely the news about the ETFs. So, according to this article, Switzerland green lights world's first crypto ETF to be listed next week. So we were waiting for the ETF from Binance Solid X in December. In the end of December, or at least in February in America. But this is Switzerland's one, and it's a bit actually different. It's trade trading protocol, and still they have the tracing the most well, at least according to their opinion, available cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple. Actually, it should be XRP here, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and here is the allocation, like 67%, like half of Bitcoin, XRP 30%, Ethereum is 15%, and actually they share the same market cap basically, but you see XRP is twice higher, so they probably believe those Swiss people, they believe in banking industry. So since XRP is tightly attached to the banks, I think they may use this as a first, like twice bigger than Ethereum. Anyway, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin a little bit more. Market doesn't seem to be reacting on this. Probably it already reacted to the major extent, but still very interesting to see that. We'll see what will happen with the ETF in America. If it will happen, then just a green light all over the place, and really good. So now let's look at the Bitcoin price. So what would happen is there are a few things which I was going to share today. First is that we are still consolidating in around 5,500, a little bit smaller spread here. It's interesting to note, I picked 4 hours chart today on purpose, because it's very nice to see some behavior comparing with or with respect to the development of the USDT to dollar. So here you see that this is the drop of the price of Tether, and then return back. But over there with the Bitcoin price, it has the sudden increase. So just when this drop happened, well, you may think of that as there was a test of the price of Bitcoin as a reaction to the drop in price of the Tether. And well, it's sort of a theory, of course. It's not necessarily to be the truth, or to any extent, any stretch. But if it was so there was a test of like a Tether FUD, and people expected to, well, initiators of this FUD were expected to see the drop in Bitcoin. Instead of that, they saw the massive rise of the price of Bitcoin Tether trading exchanges because of the run from Tether to Bitcoin and other altcoins and other cryptocurrencies. And then they returned back, and then they actually initiated the drop before, probably somewhere on here on Coinbase and something, and then they also changed the price of Tether, and then this was sort of coupled with the price of Bitcoin in the proper direction. And it's interesting that there's this like a flip side of this. If you look at the volume here, in principle, the volume of trading around this area when we saw the rise of Bitcoin price is very similar to the price, that the volume around here. So you may just think of, actually, if you integrate it, it will be even more obvious. So you may think about the thing that here the Bitcoin was sold at this higher level, and here it was bought in this sort of the same amount of Bitcoin was sold here and bought here. And this is a swing trade which would give you a nice profit on such a huge volume. So if it was planned and plotted scenario, plotted story, then it's reasonable to expect that we may have some accumulation around this area, then will not go lower, and then we can return back to some higher levels. And the second thing is there is actually sort of a test of the downwards, and this is the most important thing which I tend to look at the moment. So let me switch off this USDT chart. So actually, and I would better to look at just Coinbase maybe. Yes. Oh, anyway, here was the test of this $5,200, and this was also the test. So first one, you see it was a huge volume around here, and apparently on this volume it was very hard to push the price lower because a lot of the buys or stops which were dragging the price upwards. So it's very hard to maintain the pressure, downwards pressure on the price. However, after a few hours, actually few 4 hours periods, there was a second attempt, and it was even lower than before in terms of the price, and still we see some volume around here. So still some buyers were strong here, and they didn't allow the price to go lower than this level. So it returned back, and bears were waiting patiently, and then they slowly pushed the price lower, lower. So they tried it again, a little bit to the downside, and as soon as they tried, they saw again some increase in the volume. Of course, it's this minor ticks, but comparing to the overall volume before, it's actually quite significant. So it served for them as an indicator of the price is actually reacting. So the market is reacting to their moves, and as soon as they saw this volume, they said, okay, it's not worth trying to break those buyers' walls, and it's better to wait when they will get exhausted. And in fact, those, you see the rises, the volume of those trading areas is getting lower and lower and lower. So I would think they would try to test it as soon this volume will be sort of irrelevant, and they will try to break it downwards once again, probably within a few days. I think maybe even today or tomorrow. This is my personal opinion, because this is like what chart is telling me, not financial advice as usual. Second thing is, well, not a second, like one of the things is that if we look at the previous low, which was at 5,700 and something, probably like nearly 800. So here it is, yeah. So those 2 weeks, and maybe weeks, I mean the touches of this level, and this was also very close. So this level is actually was actually a sort of the lowest resistance, so the lowest support which we looked at before, because it's like the lowest low, and we need to use it as a basis anyway. So, but now this level is tested on the other side as a resistance, at least on Bitfinex and other Tether trading exchanges. It was tested several times, and it held, and it couldn't be broken. So maybe another thing is that if we'll go upwards, we'll test it again. If we'll test it again, then it will be a nice indicator of the fact that we are actually more bullish than bearish. So I would look at those two actions. So whether we'll test this, try to make a wick lower with the slight volume increase, and if volume will go lower than previous volume rise, then it is an attempt to break downwards. If we'll try to test this level, then we will see the more like bullish sentiment, and try attempts to break it upwards. Of course, everything is very short term. In my opinion, we would have to see $5,000 or even below that. Especially a lot of the people are bearish, and it's very easy to turn the market bearish, as most of the market is bearish, and at a certain point when everybody will be capitulating, market will reverse, and everybody will lose money except the whales. So let's try to follow them. And finally, what I was going to show you is these two charts, and this is the guy on TradingView, Bodje 11th, and he's one of the most readable, famous out there, who has most reputation and so on. So he plotted these two options, two variations of the price evolution, and one is like this, and second is something like this. So both of them are pretty bearish short mid-term. Like one, it goes below 5,000, another goes below 5,000, or even 4,500, and I think that is pretty much likely to happen, both of them. But anyway, if you average these two, then you would have to see the drop below 5,000 or something like that, or at least touch 5,000, and then we can have the reversal, hopefully long term. So I personally completely agree with that, and I hope to see that soon, before December presumably. And if it would will initiate some bullish momentum, that will be great, and we will finally return to the moon, to the rocket, and so on. If we look at the Fibonacci retracement, which is pretty much of course relative and not 100% guaranteeing you any kind of the price action, but still, if we'll draw it like this, you will see that currently we're in the middle of two retracement levels, and probably we could expect this 4,300 or something as the bouncing level, but I wouldn't expect it to touch this level, because this would be very too obvious. So probably will go like something 4,600 or 4,500 or maybe 800, something like that. Just to not to reach this level, not to let most of the bulls to enter the market at such an obvious position. So that would I look at also. That's it. That's just the final thought about the Fibonacci and how it could serve our purpose. So anyway, this was my update. If you like that, please subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below. I hope to see tomorrow new updates. See you guys. Goodbye.